Well, good morning and welcome to the Blue Jackets Morning Skate here on Jackets TV, presented by Ohio Health. Tonight, the Blue Jackets getting set to take on the Colorado Avalanche here at Nationwide Arena. I'm Bob McElligott, joined by Jody Shelley. Another huge opportunity for the Blue Jackets to get points on home ice tonight, Jody. But before we even get to that, let's take a look back at the last game the Blue Jackets played. Went down to Carolina, found themselves in another hard-fought battle with the Hurricanes.
Yeah, and they, it was one of those tight 0-0 games early. And they played catch-up the whole game, we thought, Bob. You know, Carolina scored first, and good responses. There's one by the Blue Jackets. Matty Calvert in tight. Just a good hard-working shift there by Matty Calvert. They caused that turnover, made that nice play. Great shot in that dangerous area. And we thought Khudobin was not beatable unless there was someone in front of him or it was going to be a rebound. But that was a direct shot by Calvert. Nice little snapshot. Great to see the Jackets get that win the other night. Really, after the Pittsburgh game, really felt the urgency, and it's good to see them get that win because there was a point during that game where you really didn't know what was going to go on.
No, you didn't. And after the Blue Jackets fell down 2-1 in that game, they had to come back again. As you said, they just kept on coming back. And it was Nathan Horton had gotten bumped down to a line to play with Artem Anisimov. Here you see the two hook up to get this second goal.
Yeah, and that was, they've never rehearsed that. They would have never thought that that's how it would have happened. But Nathan threw a little kind of a fluff shot on net, and Artem fanned on that shot. You can see here. I mean, that couldn't have gone any slower past Khudobin, and boy, they'll take it. They were. It's good to see Artem get rewarded like that, and of course Nathan Horton, who everyone is known as had struggles. I really thought the first two periods of the last game he looked much better. He didn't play much in the third. I think he only had 2 shifts, and we know why now. He's got that lower body issue, I think they're calling it, and he's going to be out for tonight for sure. But I like that line. He fit in well with Anisimov, kind of a refreshing thing for both of them.
Oh, and Anisimov was just getting tuned up with that goal because the best play that he made all night came in overtime when the Blue Jackets were on their very first power play of the game. Watch him take the hit and then set up Ryan Johansson.
Well, I think how do you get that puck past the other defender? He had 2 white jerseys on him. There's the bench erupting. I mean, that is a heck of a play. And when you see Ryan Johansson, look at this guy celebrate. That was pretty good. So when he had the puck in the slot with the defenseman in front of him, you're thinking, ooh, this is good. You know, it's one of those situations with him now where when he gets in those dangerous areas, those scoring areas, especially when there's a defender in front of him, he seems to get it by that defenseman or use him as a screen, which great players always do.
Absolutely. There's Ryan Johansson with that goal. He reached the 30-goal plateau. You see he's the third player in franchise history to get 30 or more. The other 2 are Rick Nash and Jeff Sanderson, which really, for this franchise, he's joining elite company.
Yeah, he is at a young age, too. That's quite a plateau to reach. He was he's a guy that's really the fans here in the organization have watched this kid grow, like in size and in maturity with the puck. He's using his body a lot better. His confidence is high. And he's scoring big, timely goals. He's got, I think, 3 game winners here in the last little bit. And, you go back to Montreal, exciting nights with he wants the puck on his stick in those situations. Great thing for the Jackets. But I think they need to start spreading that around a little bit, Bob, especially with this push, because he's definitely going to be focused on.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see him. He said the other night after the game when he was asked about having the 30 goals, he said, well, that's great, but I hope to get a couple of more here as we finish.
Right.
There's still 8 games left in the next 12 days, so he's got a chance to get himself to 35. Well, if he has a really good 8 games, he can go beyond that. But he's got a very realistic shot at 35 goals.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's got to be happy with that. He's definitely – he wants to score another one. He saw his short celebration there, and they celebrated on the plane, had a nice day off Sunday. But, yeah, that's great. Scoring goals is unbelievable. And for a young player like that, I think everybody on this team is happy for him.
All right, optional skate here today, and that's pretty much the way it's going to be the rest of the way.
Did you was it optional for us? We didn't get that notification, apparently.
They told us right after we got here that we didn't have.
Now, it looks like most of the team is out there.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it. It's optional skate, but you see how many guys are participating here this morning. And really,
17 skaters.
The guys that aren't out here are probably the guys that are dealing with little nagging issues, and they don't want to push it on the day of a game, right?
That's right. Well, look at their schedule, 8 games at 12 nights. They have to manage energy. It's a key. It's a reality. So there might be guys that are not on the ice that wanted to come out, and the coach might have went up to them and said, hey, stay off the ice. Now, there's a guy you see right here, Jack Johnson, plays close to 30 minutes each night, and he's out there on the option. I'm kind of surprised at that, but you leave it to the player, but in some instances you have to go up to the player if he has a nagging or a lingering injury. Then you address it. Ryan Murray's out there. He's one of the guys that This is his first practice with the team?
No, he's been out there. He was out there at the end of last week a little bit. But
he would come out at the end of practice, but
yeah.
this is he was out here at the beginning of practice, 15 minutes before, just skating. He's still a wonderful skater. You can tell he's got a little hitch in his getup, but good to see that. And yeah, these players, you've been in this situation. You've seen these guys. Baseball has started. That's time for optional skates and energy. Preserve that energy.
Here you look at Ryan Murray's numbers, and it is good to see him in these skates because at some point he's going to get back into the lineup. If he can get into the playoffs, he's going to come back, and he was a huge part of this team before he got injured, and he will add to that competition of who gets to play on a daily basis once he's healthy again.
Yeah, and he brings that sense of confidence with the way he plays, that ease. He just settles a lot of players down with the way he plays and his approach to every situation on the ice and off the ice. So that's amazing to say about a rookie player. But it's a reality.
Rookie defenseman.
Yeah.
I mean, it usually takes those guys a little bit longer than a forward to get adjusted to the NHL game, but not this guy.
Just a bright spot, and I think just seeing him out there makes me feel confident.
Yeah.
You?
Well, yeah.
Imagine how they feel down there.
You can see how he's close. I mean, it still could be a couple of weeks away, but, until a guy gets on the ice and he skates in these practices, like you said, then you're really not you can't get excited. But once you see them doing this stuff, then you start to say,
another
he's
step.
close.
You're right. It's another step. He's been in rehab on the training table. Then he probably started on the bike. Then he progresses to skating by himself with no pucks. Then he skates with pucks. Then he pushes it, and then the day comes where he gets to start practice with his teammates, and that's an exciting day because I tell you what, while the team's traveling and playing and you're watching or listening to them on the radio, you really don't feel a part of it. So I bet today is a good day for Ryan Murray.
All right, now let's talk about another guy that's been back on the ice and has been skating, hasn't had a chance to play, but that'll change tonight as Jared Boll comes back into the lineup. He's taking a little rush right now in a 2-on-1 down there on the ice to our right. But Jared Boll is going to get back in there. It's got to be exciting for him, and we've gone over why we think he is so important to this team to be on the ice. For those that think, well, he's just a tough guy fighter, what's the big deal of having him back? He is much, much more than that.
Oh yeah, he's he brings a veteran, a veteran role. He has so much respect from his teammates just because the person he is and the role that he does, and he's been around long enough now to appreciate these situations. When you have a player like that, Jared's missed 52 games in a row. When you have a guy like that and you've watched him battle and struggle and wait and deal with these things, and then to get him back, you feed off his excitement. There's a nice little push from that. Now, is he going to come back and score 3 goals? I wouldn't put that kind of pressure on him, Bob. But it's just going to be nice for him and his teammates to have him back in the lineup. He's going to throw the body tonight. Hopefully draw some penalties, create some scrums, create some situations where the other team has to be on their toes. And now I speak of the other team. They have a couple tough guys. And one of them is a pretty big boy, Patrick Bordelot. He's got 91 penalty minutes. He's like 6'5", 6'6", big young kid. They recently signed him to a 3-year contract for Colorado. Now, does Jared need to go out and fight him? I don't think so, but I think keep him on a string, keep him on edge. Don't let him just run around and do what he wants out here tonight. I think that presence is good. And if you look to Thursday, I know we don't like looking ahead, but hostile environment in Philadelphia. You got some young guys on your squad. Could be a playoff matchup. You want a leader like Jared to go in there and lead the way, carrying that torch and say, we're not backing down from anyone. I'll show you the way we're going to go. Follow me.
Absolutely, which you may have just answered the question tweeted in by Elise. And if you have a question, you can tweet it at Bobby Mac Sports is my account. It says, of all the games that he has been healthy, why do you think tonight is the night to play Jared Boll? Which you just said, you gave those reasons with Bordelot and then Philly is coming up. But also, you got to get him back into the lineup at some point. And I think with Nathan Horton out here tonight, and that enables Todd Richards to juggle some things around. It looks like Boll's going to play with Blake Como and Derek McKenzie on the fourth line, which means when you've got a team like the Colorado Avalanche, they've got a lot of speed, they've got a lot of finesse to an extent. Well, if you get a chance to catch them in their own end, you can bang them around pretty good with guys like McKenzie, Boll, and Como.
Yeah, and it's just another dynamic of having healthy players, as you mentioned. Now, if you look at – that's a great question. Who asked the question? Elise?
Elise, yes.
Okay, I'm gonna throw this one at you. I think that they thought about playing Jared Boll in the Long Island game, in that afternoon game, and they missed that opportunity. They kind of felt like they should have. And then the next game was Detroit, so they kind of felt, maybe he won't play against Detroit. Maybe a tough game for Jared to get back into. And then after that, you have Pittsburgh. could have thrown him in against Pittsburgh, but I think when you look back, when they lost the Long Island game, they probably thought we should have put him in there. No opportunity, no opportunity. And like you said, big lineup tonight, big week this week with Philadelphia, then home for Chicago, who plays that big, fast style. I think a guy like Jared Bola, who can take a punishment and give one, as far as throwing the body, is a nice dynamic to have. Yeah, I would like it if I was a coach.
Absolutely. Well, and you look at this week. You mentioned the week, and you talked about the two games. Look, here we go. Tonight here at home, then at Philadelphia. You've got Chicago here. That's back-to-back. The Stanley Cup champs are here on Friday night. Then you've got the New York Islanders coming in on Sunday, the Phoenix Coyotes on Tuesday, and then you hit the road, and actually there's one game not in there, the April 9th game at Dallas.
That's right.
That game that had to be that was suspended and now has been rescheduled for April the 9th. So there's a lot of games right there. But essentially, look at the opponents: Philadelphia, Chicago, Islanders, Phoenix. Especially those three games at home here.
Yeah.
And the four counting tonight. You got to get these points at home.
Right. Yeah, you got to get them. And boy, this is a tall test tonight for me. I mean, we don't know a lot about the Colorado Avalanche, but Patrick Waugh has taken us, one of the worst, if not the worst team in the NHL. They got the second overall pick in the draft. They took Nathan McKinnon, who is by far the best rookie in the league.
Right, but now you say about them, they weren't a good team, but they had such talent.
But they were dead. They were last.
They were, but they had the Duchesnes.
So you're not giving Patty Waugh the Jack Adams.
Well, I didn't say that he shouldn't get that. What I'm saying is, I guess what I'm really saying is somebody wasn't getting the full potential out of this team before Patrick Waugh came along.
Okay.
And he came along, they added Nathan McKinnon, and all of a sudden he found a way to press the buttons with all the other guys that should have been great and weren't playing great, but now they are. They've got 100 points coming into this game tonight. They're second in the Central Division in the Western Conference. They have been, yeah, again, though, they're only a surprise. They're only a surprise if you consider where they were in the standings and you don't actually break down the roster and look at the potential that they've had the last 2 years.
Yeah, but how many teams have potential? I know what you're saying. Every team is an NHL team. I totally agree with you, actually. This Landeskog found his way.
Right.
A rookie sensation. I just saw him walk in with Stastny. These guys have some good swagger going in Colorado. Let's put it that way. And I think Patrick Waugh is the leader of that. He has so much respect as a Hall of Fame goalie. And, he's won the Stanley Cup, and he does it his way. And I think that the role that he has now, he embraces, and obviously his team embraces the way he does it. I just saw Nick Holden, who is a former player of the Columbus Blue Jackets, in the hallway, and I said, "Hey, how's it going?" And he went on to say, unsolicited, "Patty is unbelievable." He said, "I've never seen a coach this way or deal with players this way." He said, "It's refreshing." It's a young kid. Like, what's refreshing to a young 23, 24-year-old kid who's just starting his career? I mean, you'd think of a KG veteran would say that, but for him to notice that, they have a good thing going. Varlamov is playing well. Obviously, we'll see him tonight for the Avalanche. They will play the Chicago Blackhawks in the first round. They know that. They're competing for a home ice advantage. That's what they're points for. There's always something to play for. Some teams that have clinched first overall, you look at Pittsburgh, they're playing to get their rhythm, get their team feeling good, getting a power play. There's always something, right? Getting the defensive zone cleaned up. But expect a battle here from Colorado tonight, and boy, the Jackets, I think the Jackets will be ready, Bob.
I think it's interesting what you say about them wanting home ice advantage against Chicago, because that could be very important in a series like that, because Chicago's such a tough place to play. When you have a team that's won the Stanley Cup last year, they want to play at home. They want to have that last game on their home ice surface if they need it. And Colorado, in the last couple of years, they had kind of lost their home ice advantage because they weren't playing very well and people weren't coming. That's all right. Changed now. The people are back, and all you have to do is go back and look at the couple of Stanley Cups that they won. That place can get rocking when that team is playing well. So that's why it's going to be imperative for them to face the Blackhawks at home to start.
That's right. And you look, we mentioned Patrick Waugh. How about Joe Sakic, the job he's done?
Yeah.
He took McKinnon, wanted McKinnon. There was all the talk about Jones. Why wouldn't it take a big 6'5", young, talented defenseman? He's from Colorado.
Right, exactly.
And he just, they wanted McKinnon, and which looks like a great move right now.
Yeah, a great former great forward wanted to take another future great forward,
right?
And he made the right choice.
Right.
It's funny you bring
Patrick
up Joe Sakic.
Taking a goalie, right?
Right. It's funny you bring up Joe Sakic, and look at the way they restructured that entire organization. There was a lot of talk about Patrick Waugh coming back into the NHL after he was coaching in juniors, and he wanted control of the personnel, almost like an NFL situation where the head coach has a lot of say as to what players he's going to have on his roster. And what he did is he got that situation in Colorado. He got it from a former teammate in Joe Sakic that trusts him explicitly with everything that he does. These guys, they went out and won cups together side by side. Each one knows what kind of competitor the other one is. There's a trust factor there. I think it's really a great move by the Avalanche. Wonder what took them so long to set this whole thing up. But they've given the reins to these guys. Right. They've given the reins to these guys, and they've done a fantastic job. They really have. So, and sometimes you don't,
Think how much fun it is.
Oh, it's got to be a blast, right?
Won a Stanley Cup with 23 guys, 25 guys on a roster. Now there's 2 of them. Patrick Waugh, Joe Sakic, Adam Foote is helping out, friend of the Blue Jackets family, former captain. He's there. He was there for those Stanley Cups. There's a couple other guys. They just have like that boys club going, and they're having success. But it's funny. I spoke with a couple people when we were in Colorado. We had conversations, and Patrick Waugh is a personality that he wants control of everything, like you mentioned. And on a day-to-day basis, I guess he's fiery. After a loss, trade him, get rid of him. And where Joe Sakic is like, no.
Well, and you could see Joe, just the way that Joe played.
Right, I don't know, but
he, when you saw him play, he scored a lot of big goals, but he was always that calming influence in the middle there, right? Everything else would settle down. Forsberg could get fired up over here. Waugh would get fired up back there, and he was just like the guy. He was always there, steady Eddie all the way. And he uses that same hand.
And that's nice, right? And but wait now, let's look at this roster. This roster, I don't look at this and think of this like an all-star team or anything. I agree. Patrick Waugh is a leader, and he has him playing the right way because, besides Landeskog, O'Reilly, McKinnon, they're the Stasny. You look at guys like Holden, Nate Ginnon, Eric Johnson's a steady offensive defenseman. Jan Hayda, we know him. Duchesne is out. Jamie McGinn, I played with him in San Jose. He was a fourth-line player when I was there. Now, he's a good skater. He's a big guy. He's getting it done. Parenteau is out. He's a skilled guy. And then Saric, the veteran. Talbot, the grinder. I don't know. They just kind of have something that works. That Cody McLeod, I think he's fought Jared Bull a few times too. He's kind of a gritty third, fourth line guy. There's no one that really – it's not like when you play Anaheim, when you have Getzlaf, Perry, the goaltending situation that they have there. I don't know. And I'm still not sold on Varlamov, but –
no, he's kind of on a game-to-game basis for me,
they have
too.
100
I know he's
points.
got great numbers. Yeah. But when you talk about they're still not Anaheim. No, they don't have that same size. But, to me, Landeskog and O'Reilly and Duchesne when he's healthy, that's a lot of talent up front.
Fast,
yeah,
young.
They find a way. And the Blue Jackets struggle with them. Over the history here, the Blue Jackets have struggled with the Colorado Avalanche. Although last year, late in the year, in Colorado, must-win situation to stay in the playoff hunt. They got the job done in overtime. So, you can always draw on those little situations. But when you talked about that defense, Nate Gennon, former Blue Jacket, he played here at one point. Nick Holden was with the organization to start. Yeah, Jan Hayda was here. And the thing about those guys is, and you alluded to this, not flashy at all. In fact, Nate Gennon and Nick Holden, how many teams in the NHL are saying, man, we should have grabbed those guys when they were available. But they're doing a great job here.
Yeah, it's so good to see Nick Holden and Nate Ginnon. Very, very solid people. And they were here at a young time when things were in turmoil. So do you build it around Nate Ginnon and Nick Holden? They couldn't. Those guys, other teams needed them. They got sent down. I think Ginnon got picked up on waivers, a couple times. But it's good to see them have success in other places, especially a team like this where they're winning so much. What an experience for these young guys. And Ginnon was in Anaheim, and I think they wanted him back, but there was something that happened there that just didn't work out, and he landed on his feet again. Good character guy. He'll fight. He's just a solid guy in the dressing room.
Absolutely.
How about these guys skating?
I was just thinking the same thing right here. You see these two guys, R.J. Umberger and Nick Schultz. They're skating like that, meaning that they're not playing in tonight's game. Against the Colorado Avalanche.
This drill they're doing. They're doing like a battle drill, so that's not easy.
Yep.
So you got to that takes all your breath away right there, pushing. And then he's making, Dan Heino's making them skate over and back after battling. And then the other guy holds the puck while the other guy pushes him. This is Bob.
Your legs are hurting watching this, isn't it?
If we try to do that right at this point, we would be done. Right here, you would probably be done on the last one.
Right.
But right in this, I'd be on my back, gasping for air.
I'd just skate off.
You would be puking. You'd be puking right in the penalty box.
As soon as he said, "This is what
we're going to do," that little hole in
do.
the glass.
He'd say, "Hey, here's what we're going to do." I'd say, "I'm out."
No, you'd be done. Your face would be purple, too.
Exactly. So, and again, those are the guys not playing. Matt Fratton on your right there, and Nick Schultz on the left. These 5 guys at center ice not playing in tonight's game. A guy that is going to play, and he's coming over toward the bench right now with his coach, Sergei Bobrovsky, is back out there and looking like his old self here after suffering the flu there last week. That's something, and I'm sure nobody felt worse than him, both physically and mentally.
Yeah, I would say, right.
He wants to play in every game, right? And all of a sudden, bam, he's on the shelf for the couple of games there, and Curtis McElhinney filled in wonderfully in his absence. So
yes, he did. Curtis, that tough situation to come in. Curtis did a great job, got the win in Carolina. Sergei, yesterday, I saw him come off the ice. They had a practice here. I don't know what he was doing, but he looked like he just raked himself over the coals. Maybe it was punishment for him missing a couple games. He punishes himself, but he works so darn hard, and today, even in pregame skate, he's working hard. There he is stretching. There's another example, Bob. If you tried something like this, I wonder. Why don't you get down and why don't you try that? Get up on the table.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I could do that once.
9-1-1.
Yeah, exactly. No question about that. But he's looking better again, and we just talked about this week. And if you're going to speculate, which I will.
Awesome.
Maybe
I love
play
when you
tonight
speculate.
and then going to Philadelphia. I think he's got to be the go-to guy in Philadelphia. And maybe Curtis gets the opportunity back here against Chicago on Friday night in the back-to-back, depending on how things go. So see how
if he feels good.
Yeah,
he's ride him.
And Todd Richards is okay with that. He goes to him, right?
Yeah.
We saw that even when he had the flu. And he came out in Detroit, and he played the first period, and then he came out of the game. He wasn't 100%. Everybody knew that. Todd Richards said, "What do you think?" And he said, "I think I can go," and he gave it to him.
Yeah. Or you go, Bob, you win the next 4 in a row, I'll give you 2 days off. Okay. Not too bad, right?
Not a bad
Finish
deal.
the game in Long Island against Long Island, you get a day off. 2 days off.
Not a bad deal at all. So
that'd be good, 8 points.
Let's take a look at the standings. Speaking of points, as we come into tonight's game for the Blue Jackets, again, it's still a dogfight in the wild card position here. As since the Blue Jackets played, things have changed a little bit. The Rangers with 88 points now in second place. Philadelphia behind them with 86. The Blue Jackets now sitting 4 points behind the Flyers coming into play tonight. Detroit won the other day. They beat Tampa Bay at home on Sunday, so that's how they've gotten to their 84 points. The Washington Capitals lost in a shootout to the Nashville Predators on Sunday night, so that's why they're at 81 points. Toronto's still sitting there at 80. But again, for the Blue Jackets, as long as you're above the line, you control your own fate.
Right. When you're above the line, you try to create separation from the teams behind you, obviously, and you look at the next target. And for Columbus, it's Detroit, but I look a little higher. I look at Philadelphia, especially since they're coming down the pipe here on Thursday. Philly plays tonight in St. Louis, which is a tough battle. Hopefully St. Louis can stay par for the course and be one of the most dominating teams in the league. And then if the Jackets get that 2 points, hey, could be leaving Philadelphia in that spot, Bob, which would be pretty awesome way to start this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to take a look at the Capitals there because they're lurking, but they only have the 7 games. But with their schedule, they've got the Dallas Stars coming up next. The Stars are still holding out hope that they can get back into that playoff picture in the Western Conference. But here's the schedule for the Capitals the rest of the way. They've got Dallas tonight, then Friday, Saturday, back-to-back with the Devils and the Islanders. They still have to go to St. Louis next week. They go to Carolina. They'll play the Blackhawks at home, and they've got the Tampa Bay Lightning at home to close it all out. So when you look at Washington, if you're worried about them catching up, again, you win your games, they don't ever catch up. Simple as that. But if you stumble along the way, and there are potholes on the Blue Jackets schedule, no doubt, you see there's some tough games for the Capitals to have to play too.
Right. Yeah, there is. And I mean, relatively easy schedule, but 2 pretty big games. Chicago and St. Louis. Now let's talk about Chicago for a quick second here. They're missing their 2 big boys.
Right.
Taves went out last game. Not sure how long he'll be out, but definitely.
Hopefully past Friday.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to say it, but thank you.
I have no problem saying it.
And
sorry about your luck. No Kane, no Taves. Oh, well.
That's true. Can't judge obviously with that Long Island game, and I go back to that. Hopefully that was the valuable lesson that sticks for the next 2 weeks is that they're going to see him again.
Right.
So it's going to be a payback, hopefully. Don't take any team lightly. Doesn't matter what situation. Look at the dogfight the other night in Carolina. Mm-hmm. Their record is no reflection of their team, and I think in this league, and the Jackets know best, and we've said it, they've been that team for a while, and it's nice not to be for once.
Well, and for Carolina, there's already talk about Jim Rutherford, their longtime GM.
Yeah, he's stepping down.
At the end of the year. So, they say Ron Francis is going into that spot. Nobody's confirming that. But even if he does, that's a new guy, which means as a coach, well, that's not the guy that hired me, so we have to play better. He's trying to secure his job for a player. You're going, man, if we're going to have a new GM, that's not the guy that signed me. You've got to play harder. So, again, there's no surprise as to why the Carolina Hurricanes are trying to put on a push the rest of the way.
That's a fantastic point. They're auditioning.
Right. Because everything's up for grabs. Let's look at the schedule for the Detroit Red Wings, what they have the rest of the way. And they also have a couple of games here that stand out. Tomorrow night they'll play the Boston Bruins. They do get that game at Detroit, so that's maybe an advantage for them. They do get the Buffalo Sabres 2 times. Again, on paper you just mark down 2 wins, but you got to play those games, and one of those is going to be in Buffalo, and the Sabres in the same boat as we said with the Carolina Hurricanes, trying to make impressions. They do have to go to Pittsburgh and play the Penguins. They do have to play in Montreal. They do have the Carolina Hurricanes on their schedule when they close out playing at St. Louis against the Blues. So there are some tough games for them. Everybody has, yeah, right.
Babcock.
Everybody's got tough games.
No handshakes there, Hitch. Don't take that game lightly. And how about they have 2 back-to-backs, which is good. So do the Jackets. So, there's everyone thinks they have such a tough schedule, and it just has to do with the condensed portion of the season, the whole season actually, with the Olympic break. Next year, it's going to be strange to be back to an 82-game season with that 3 weeks where hockey, those games will now be stretched out. We'll have 3 days in a week without a game.
Wow, yeah, because it's been 2 crazy years.
Yeah.
With the lockout and the 44 games and 99 days, whatever it was, and then 48 games, and that one, it was every other day. This is every other day, and then some. I can't do math this time.
I love your math.
It's awful.
Whatever that was.
Josh wants to know, why are the Blue Jackets scoring less goals right now than they were earlier in the year? Style of play, playoff hockey. That's part of it anyway, right?
Yeah, I agree. And we talked about this on our radio show, I believe. They were scoring a lot of goals earlier in the year, and you pointed out, this is not common, and this will not be the way of the Jackets. It's that style of hockey. Their team is built that way. They're waiting for opportunities. They're showing a patient style of hockey, and it's encouraging. I think it tells a lot about a team, and I can still go back to that Nashville game after the Chicago blowout. They won 1-0 in Nashville. It's hard to do that, and they've done it since. Tampa?
Yeah.
Well, they did
before. Yeah, they beat Tampa
1-0, and these close games the other night, 0-0 for almost 2 periods. It's easy for teams to get uneasy in those situations. The Jackets look comfortable, and they got the win.
Even, the Pittsburgh game was 0-0 into the 3rd period.
Yes.
Gave up 2 quick ones, but only lost
by 1
in that game.
They looked comfortable. They didn't look like they were getting antsy. And
I like
teams.
that. I like that term because if the Blue Jackets would happen to play the Penguins in the first round, everybody's going to write them off because they've already been beaten 5 times by the Penguins this year. And comfortable, as you just said, in any game, as long as you're comfortable, as long as you feel like you can compete with a team,
right,
you can beat a team on any given day.
And I'd like to change that word because comfortable is the worst word you can use in pro sports. Let's say confident.
Okay.
We'll go with confident.
All right. Or can you combine them in any way?
Cozy.
So the Blue Jackets and the Avalanche get set to go head-to-head here tonight at Nationwide Arena. We're being joined right now by Blue Jackets head coach Todd Richards. Todd, yesterday you had, I guess, what you kind of talked about being your last full regular season practice here, and now it's kind of optionals and managing time. We've talked about this a little bit before, but 8 games in 12 days, what is your challenge to making sure everybody has enough gas in the tank every night?
Well, it would be nice if you get into these games and you can just roll 4 lines and play 6 defensemen. Obviously, there's specialty teams that'll change a little bit of that dynamic, but it's using everybody on the bench. It's going to be using guys that aren't in the lineup tonight and getting them in the lineup to try to get fresh legs. And as coaches, we're going to have to do a good job in trying to manage it. And then, some of this falls onto the players' shoulders too, as far as taking care of themselves when they're at the rink or when they're away from the rink.
Nathan Horton not going to play in this one tonight. You know, we've noticed him over the last couple of weeks. He just hasn't looked right out there. And you confirmed yesterday a lower body injury for him, so he's not going to play. That gives Jared Bowl a chance to go back into the lineup. When you compare those two guys, you had Nathan who had the offseason surgery, missed 40 games before he ever played. You've got Jared that missed about 50-some games here, but he had the training camp and everything leading up to it. Do you expect Jared to be able to kind of jump in and adapt to get back to things rather quickly here?
I think tonight it'll be pretty easy for him because I think there's going to be a lot of emotion, a lot of adrenaline flowing through his body that he'll come out and play with some good energy. It's going to be once that energy goes out a little bit and you lose that adrenaline of it being the first game. When you miss a significant amount of time, as they both did, in different parts of the season, but it's still always a little bit tough to catch up to it. You miss training camp, you miss, and to me those are the most critical times is the training camp, getting out and practicing, getting the reps, and it seems like you're chasing. And Nathan came in a tough situation, and credit to him, he's battled, he's competed, and it was something that I truly expected. And and when you are trying to catch up like that too, there might be other breakdowns, and I'm talking with the body as far as little injuries here or there. Jared's worked extremely hard. He's been great. I mean, he's been cleared to play here for a while, but this is a great opportunity for him to get back into the lineup. We're playing a home game against Colorado where I can kind of control his shifts and maybe who he's out playing against and ease him into it that way and really protect him that way too.
Todd, you'd mentioned a little bit earlier there that you put it back on the players as far as they decide on if they're going to practice or not and how they feel. This time of year for you, are they where you want them to be as far as you don't need to step in so much and be that presence? Or is the room kind of maintaining itself at the level you would like it to be right now?
It is, and I think you can see it in our play. You go back over our schedule, with the exception of maybe the Islanders, maybe all the way going back to the start of the month versus Chicago. Other than that, I think our team's played hard. We've done most things right through the games. We haven't gotten the results that we've wanted, but I think the guys have done a good job. And when you get to this stage of the season, I mean, I've done enough talking. I've been in front of these guys, whether it's pre-scouts for games or whether it's practices or running meetings in the room. They've listened to me probably way too much. And at this stage of the season, it comes down to your leaders. Systematically, players know what's expected of them. I think each player understands their role on the team and what's expected within their role. And now it's about them taking control of the room and taking control of the team.
And another thing, you've had the urgency. I mean, all year the urgency's been there. I'll talk about last season, how it ended. You had to make sure that you were going to get to this point of where you're at right now with this team. Above, you got the wild card position, destiny in your hands. It must be a great feeling for you and the group down there coming in tonight at home against Colorado, a team that's going to be a great test.
Well, I don't know if it's a great feeling, Jody, but you know what? It's a credit to the players. It's a credit to the group. It's a credit to the leaders in the room that they've done all the work. I mean, as coaches, we do work to try to get these guys ready, but they're the guys that have to go out and they have to do it and put it out on the line, out on the ice, and they've done that. And we put ourselves in a position now where you did say we control our own destiny, but it's going to be tough. You look at the teams that we're playing. Colorado, Philadelphia, and Chicago here, 3 games in the next 4 days, all playoff teams, and they're going to be hard games. And we'll see what our group has, but based on what I've seen so far, it's going to be a great test, and I believe our players are going to find a way.
This Colorado team has a pretty good mix. They have some gritty defense, and they have some guys up front that can move the puck and skate very well. They don't have Matt Duchene. Maybe that's a plus. Maybe it's not. Maybe somebody else steps up tonight. But what do you see as the biggest challenge against this team?
Well, there's lots of challenges against this team. You watch, you can probably spend a little bit of time in their zone. The goaltender's been very good for them. He's coming off of, a 47 or 49 save performance versus San Jose. But I think where they really are effective is in their transition when they go from defense to offense. They got some guys on their back end that can really skate. They get up and then they want to join the rush, and you can go down their roster as far as up front with the talent and the speed that they have there. So for me, what we really have to pay attention to tonight is when we have the puck and it transitions from our offense to our defense, we better be ready to skate.
All right, Todd, one last thing. We had a Twitter question. Somebody asking, with Ryan Murray back on the ice and skating in a practice, how far away do you feel that he is right now? Do you have any indication on that?
Well, we have an idea, but a lot's going to, as we take each step here, each gradual step, it's going to be seeing where he's at. It's a great step getting out on the ice, part of an optional skate or morning skate. It's not very taxing. It's simple puck movements. It's simple movements as far as skating. We'll see how he feels coming out of this. I'm assuming he's going to be okay, and then we'll have to take the next step and maybe push him a little bit more. Maybe some of it is a little bit more intense, and maybe skating, and then more intense with the physicality. And if all that goes well, then it's the next step of battle level. And if everything does go well, we're hoping maybe in about a week, maybe a little bit longer.
All right, Todd. Thank you very much, and best of luck tonight.
All right, thanks, guys.
Todd Richards, Blue Jackets head coach, and that was Ashley's Twitter question that she sent in asking about Ryan Murray. So,
great question, Ashley.
And when you hear the answer, he's a lot closer than one might have thought, right? Because originally when he suffered the injury, it was, he'll miss probably the first round of the playoffs or part of the first round of the playoffs. It's kind of changed a little bit here. So I can hear our camera is now moving into the dressing room, and we'll get some player comments coming up here in just a moment before this game against the Colorado Avalanche. Taking a look at Curtis McElligott in the goal there, and the guys that are going to be scratched in this game tonight, getting a little extra work out there with Blue Jackets assistant coach Dan Hinote.
I think Murray could go now. He looks good out there in this.
Yeah, he does.
This little 3-on-3 game. You see him. Let's see, where is he? He's right there, forcing the puck. He's wearing blue and red pants. Out there, Bob. Do you see him? Blue jersey, red pants.
Yeah, I got him. I picked him up. Right.
He's not that guy.
Right on
it. He has the puck now. Look at that poise. Oh yeah, I think he's ready. A little spin-a-rama.
All right, here's Jared Bull. He's going to play tonight. Let's hear from him.
I'm real excited. I couldn't really stop thinking about it yesterday, so I can't wait to get this game started. It's going to be a long day today, waiting to get started, but I can't wait. I'm excited. It's been a long, slow rehab process, and fortunate enough that the team's played really well and put ourselves in a spot where we're pushing for that playoff spot, and it's a fun time to come back.
What's been the hardest part?
Watching, just sitting out watching them. Every player wants to play and be out there contributing, so I think that's been the hardest, is just not being able to play, not being able to contribute, and just having to sit out and watch games.
Does it make it easier sometimes that when the team's playing well that you can take your time and come back when you're 100%? You don't feel like you're forced to rush or anything like that? You can just take your time?
Yeah, I mean, I think no matter what the case was, it's an injury where you got to feel 100% to come back, and everyone from the trainers, the coaches have been great with me, getting me back into shape, making me feel good, and I feel really good right now, and it's a good time to be coming back.
Thanks, Jared.
Yes.
Rob Mixer downstairs with
that who
Jared
that was?
Bull. Yes.
Phenomenal questions by Rob Mixer.
We're training him better
What
every day,
poise.
aren't we? Yeah. So he'll move over and talk to somebody else here in just a minute. We'll send it right back down to the dressing room when he does. You talked about Jared and how excited he would be. And
He mentioned excited.
Yeah.
I think he's excited.
That was the first thing out of his mouth.
Yeah. I mean, that's a long process. We don't know what it's like. But
you do. You've
but
had to sit and
coming
wait.
back this time of year, it's got to be. He's just, and to watch your team have success, it's easy, but it's hard. You want to be a part of it.
All right, let's go downstairs once again. Dalton Prout is lined up to talk with us right now.
In his grill.
8 and 12, 8 and 12, 8. Everybody's talking 8 and 12. From a player's perspective, you can't really look at 8 and 12. You got to look at tonight, right? I mean, that's the mindset.
Yeah, you look at tonight, and I mean, for me, everything away from the rink, you might be a little bit tired. You might be tough getting up in the morning. But once you get to the rink and you get around the guys, you get on the ice, you feel the crowd, and it all goes away.
And it's because these games are so meaningful, right? I mean, you're in the push. You and I talked about it a couple days ago. If you're not playing for anything, it's a lot more difficult. But these all mean something.
Yeah, maybe an 8 and 12 in November might be a little bit harder mentally and physically. But now they mean so much. Like I said, it's so easy to get up for.
What do you expect tonight out of Colorado? Deshane's not in the lineup, but still a pretty imposing team.
He is a big part of their identity, but I think they play a really good transition game. They're a fast team. They can make you pay if you turn too many pucks over. So we're gonna have to manage pucks and trying to limit their speed and keep them to the outside.
Perfect. Thanks, sir.
Rob Mixer with another great question there.
Dave Metzel just stepped all over him right there. Didn't even let him run?
Brutal.
That's unbelievable. So the Blue Jackets are all set to take on the Colorado Avalanche tonight. Again, the Avalanche 100 points. They're looking to try to secure home ice advantage in the first round. The Blue Jackets are looking to make sure that they have a first round of the playoffs, so it's going to be a great matchup here tonight at Nationwide Arena. Any final thoughts?
No.
Toughest question I asked you all day.
Well, yeah. Whew, put me on the spot. Well, what am I thinking about? No. It's going to be crazy in here because the Jackets fans that are going to be here, it's going to be electric. It's that time of year, man. What is it, 60 degrees outside?
60 outside.
You were cleaning your windows yesterday or something?
Yeah, right.
Get that all done.
I was at a baseball game yesterday, believe it or not.
There you go. Opening day for you, too?
Kind of. Exhibition. But I didn't have to wear a jacket, so it was a beautiful
Did you wear a shirt?
Yeah, yes.
Attaboy.
Yeah. Jeez.
It's not that season yet.
No, it's never that season. Trust me.
Great answer.
Tonight's game getting underway at 7 o'clock here at Nationwide Arena. Jody and I will be on the Blue Jackets Radio Network with you tonight. Gates will open up at 6 o'clock. Hope to see you here at Nationwide Arena. The Blue Jackets and the Colorado Avalanche. That'll wrap up this morning's live broadcast. That's what it is, off the morning skate. Thanks for watching Jackets TV, presented by Ohio Health.